What a day. What a day, comic fans. DC and Boom just dropped the horror crossover. Swamp Thing is killing the children info. Marvel is officially killing the Ultimate Universe for real this time. And the animated world's going wild with Venom joining your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and X-Men 97 Season 3 is on the way. Plus, DC is resurrecting a 40-year-old Swamp Thing story. Marvel has got a whole lot more. Yeah, it's Comic Issues Daily, and we're starting right now. But before we do that, let's a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Ron's Comic Closet. If you're hunting for new releases, back issues, or maybe even some graded keys without breaking the bank, check out Ron. He's got you covered. You can grab anything from Marvel, DC, Image, Boom, and even exclusive variants. And you get 20% off your first purchase with Ron if you use code IHAVEISSUES at checkout. Head over to Ron and see what he's got, and we'll get on with the stories. All right, so check this out. This is insane news from New York Comic Con. DC and Boom Studios just announced a crossover that nobody saw coming, and honestly, the title alone makes it legendary. Swamp Thing is killing the children. Yeah, you heard that right. This got revealed during Boom's big 20th anniversary celebration, and they're not playing around. They brought in the original Something is Killing the Children Dream Team, James Tynion IV, and the Weather Dell'Edera to handle this one-shot special. This mashup is basically horror comic heaven. You've got Swamp Thing, eerie, tragic, supernatural vibes colliding with the brutal monster hunting energy of Something is Killing the Children. Swamp Thing's created by Lin Wynn and Bernie Wrightson way back in 1971. It's also stepping into the Slaughterverse, the world built around Erica Slaughter and all that terrifying business in Archer's Peak, Wisconsin. And even DC's Black Label editors were losing it over how perfect the title is. They're promising a story that's just as bold and haunting as any classic Swamp Thing run. So if you're into the darker side of DC or obsessed with the Slaughterverse, this one's going to hit you right in the monster-loving soul. I know someone that I think that's probably going to really flip out over this one, and that's going to be Chris, the comic vet. This is right up in his wheelhouse. And if that crossover doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. But so make sure you add Swamp Thing is Killing the Children to your must-read list, because this one's going to fly off the shelves the second it drops. And then speaking of endings and beginnings, Marvel just dropped a bombshell about the Ultimate Universe, and this time they swear it's really over. Okay, so get this. Marvel just killed the new Ultimate Universe, like officially they said. They called it killing it off this December with Ultimate Spider-Man 24, and then Ultimate Black Panther 24 hits in January, and then Ultimate X-Men 24 lands in February. And the big finale, Ultimates 24 and Ultimates Wolverine 16, drop in April of 2026 to close it all out. The whole saga, the whole thing has been building from the start. The entire saga was designed to end with the Maker's escape. Remember, the universe spun out of Ultimate Invasion back in June of 2023. All engineered by that twisted Reed Richards, the Maker, trying to stop heroes from rising. But of course, they did anyways. Just in a totally different way. We got an older, married Peter Parker in Ultimate Spider-Man, and Logan working as the Maker's personal Winter Soldier style enforcer in Ultimate Wolverine. Now, that escape kicks off Ultimate Endgame, a 5-issue crossover that pulls everything together for one last emotional showdown. The creators are promising a massive, definitive ending with real deaths and major fallout for Earth 616. And yeah, Miles Morales is crossing back over, carrying the hold on a second. Is crossing back over, carrying the Maker's origin boxes. These devices meant to seed brand new heroes and stories heading into 2026. So if you've been following the Ultimate Universe since the reboot, this is it, the final chapter. Make sure you're caught up before Ultimate Endgame explodes in December. And then, and while the Ultimate Universe, come on. Sorry about that. And while the Ultimate Universe means that it's in, over on the animation side, Marvel's lining up some major returns. Venom swinging into your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97 is officially in the works, season 3. All right, so here's some seriously cool animation news out of NYCC. Both your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97 are coming back swinging, literally. X-Men 97 has been such a hit that season 3 is already officially in the works, and the wait for season 2 isn't bad at all. It hits Disney in summer of 2026, and as for Spider-Man season 2, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is set to drop that fall of 2026, and Marvel's teasing that it's going to be more grand, more tragic, more fun. I'm here for it all. And man, the updates for both shows are stacked. On the Spider-Man side, the biggest bombshell is that Venom is officially confirmed for season 2, which makes perfect sense after that wild season 1 finale. We're also getting classic faces like Norman and Harry Osborn, plus villains like Doc Ock, Scorpion, and Chameleon. Even better, Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil this time, rocking his classic red suit. And this time, Spider-Gwen shows up trying to break into Oscorp. Sounds like it's going to be a very eventful season. And then meanwhile, X-Men 97 season 2 is taking things in a pretty epic direction. The story centers on the team trying to get back to the 1990s, and NYCC attendees even got a trailer featuring Apocalypse. The season 1 showrunner may have left, but Marvel's television boss made it clear the rest of the core creative crew, same director, producer, cast, and most of the writers are still on board and working closely with the original X-Men, the animated series creators. And yeah, they said death is on the table to keep things intense. But it's not turning into Marvel zombies or anything. Looks like 2026 is shaping up to be a killer year for Marvel animation. And if you love those Saturday morning vibes growing up, now's the time to rewatch X-Men 97 and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man before the next wave of episodes drop. That way you're not having to backtrack as much. Because the nostalgia train is about to hit full speed. And while Marvel's killing it on the animation front, DC's digging deep into its vault, reviving a canceled series nearly 40 years later after one fan refused to give up. Okay, DC is actually fixing one of its biggest comics controversies almost 40 years later. They're finally publishing the lost Rick Vichy Swamp Thing story that got canceled back in 1989. If you know your comic history, this is the one that stirred up a ton of backlash. The infamous Morning of the Magician arc. It was supposed to be a 4-issue run where Swamp Thing travels back in time and ends up meeting Jesus Christ. The artwork even showed Swamp Thing becoming the cross on Calvary, and yeah, that was enough for DC to shut it down right before publication. That decision pushed Vichy to walk away from the title entirely. But here's the awesome part. After decades of fans refusing to let it go, DC is finally giving the story the light of day. There's been whispers since last year when Vichy's asked fans to email DC directly about bringing it back, and apparently over 500 people wrote in immediately. He said the message were eloquent and forceful, basically demanding justice for this piece of comic history. Now, the campaign actually worked. DC is bringing those lost issues 88 through 91 to print in 2026 under the Swamp Thing 1989 release through the revived Vertigo imprint. And they're not modernizing it or changing a thing. They're restoring the original trade dress the exact way it was meant to appear back then. After nearly 4 decades, fans are finally getting to read the story that was never allowed to see print. If you're a Swamp Thing fan or just love the comic legend finally getting their due, you're going to want this one to pre-order. You're going to want to pre-order this one the second it's available. It's pure comic history. And then, speaking of big reveals, Marvel's next big thing panel at NYCC 2025 blew the roof off. New Iron Man, Doom-drenched horror, and Ultimate Endgame we've all been waiting for. Marvel went nuts at their next big thing panel, this NYCC. The biggest bombshell, the Ultimate Universe is officially ending. We've already covered that, going through all that. And Doom is building his own version of and in Ultimate 17, Doom is building his own version of the Fantastic Four, but that's just the start. Marvel's also rolled out a whole wave of new titles kicking off this January 2026. The headliner is a brand new Iron Man series written by Joshua Williamson. The story dives into Madame Mystique, trying to recreate the same crucible that made Tony Stark who he is. And the tagline says it all. Tony Stark is the most dangerous weapon in the Marvel Universe. And that's the kind of line that tells you things are about to get personal and explosive. Then came the horror drop, and they sound awesome. There's Dungeons of Doom, an anthology spinning out of the one world under Doom, where superpowered characters rush into Doom's empty Latveria castle and get trapped in a nightmarish labyrinth filled with his darkest experiments. On top of that, Hulk fans are in for something brutal. Philip Kennedy Johnson revealed Age of Monsters in the new Infernal Hulk, who's been described as the monster of the Marvel Universe, not just Banner's darker side. His powers now include corruption, and issue 30 promises violence like you've never seen in a Marvel book. Basically, Marvel's wrapping up the Ultimate Era with a bang and setting up 2026 to be bigger, bolder, and way darker than ever. So if you thought Marvel was slowing down, think again. Let's finish off those Ultimate titles strong, and because what's coming next looks absolutely insane. And speaking of Iron Man officially, here's the information about the Iron Man relaunch. Okay, so Iron Man is getting his brand new run in January, and it looks epic. This is from Joshua Williamson, and he's teaming up with Cameron Carino, one of Marvel's legacy Stormbreaker artists. Williamson's making his big return to Marvel, and his lifelong Iron Man fan that he is. He said the timing couldn't be better. Iron Man #1 officially hit shelves on January 28th, and from the sounds of it, this one's being built to be a major event right out of the gate. The setup is Tony is trying to shape his legacy as a once-in-a-century genius, but things take a dark turn when that ambition becomes the blueprint of someone else's weapon. We all remember Tony building the Iron Man armor just to cheat death, but now the question is, what happens when somebody else builds their version of him? Enter Madame Mystique, who's using AIM to create the next great weapon, and that puts her directly in Tony's crosshairs. It's a battle of minds, machines, and morality, and it's got instant classic written all over it. Williamson even dropped the perfect tagline. Tony Stark is the most dangerous weapon in the Marvel Universe. And he explains that when Tony was in the cave, he didn't just build armor, he built himself. Expect pure old school superhero energy done in a full mighty Marvel manner with big clashes, familiar faces, the rise of the brand new arch enemy, and the shocking comeback no one expects. And if you're already hyped, check out the cover art by Ryan Stegman and that stunning promo variant by Adam Kubert. Both are total must-haves. If you're an Iron Man fan, lock in your pre-orders now. And it drops on January 28th. It's just around the corner, and it looks like it's going to set the tone for the entire next phase of the Marvel Universe. And but while Marvel's busy rearming Tony, one familiar face from Netflix era might be suiting up again. Christina Ricci just dropped some hints about Jessica Jones returning in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Hey, Christina. Welcome in. Christina Ricci is officially back as Jessica Jones in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and she couldn't be more excited about it. She said she's thrilled to finally talk openly about her return and give a big shout out to fans for being so vocal about wanting Jessica back. But of course, the big question everyone's asking is, will she finally get a comic-accurate costume this time around? Ritter laughed it off, saying she already looks about as cool as you could possibly look the way she is, but she's open to anything. Now, before we start picturing her in an old school blue and white jewel outfit, let's pump the brakes a bit. Ritter admits it's probably not very likely that she'll suit up in a classic comic look. You remember, strapless blue top, long gloves, the whole deal. It's iconic, but sure, but definitely not practical for gritty street level Jessica that we know. Even the Netflix show poked fun at back in season 1 when Trish tried to pitch her on the costume idea. Jessica's leather jacket and streetwear fits her vibe way better, and honestly, that's what makes her stand out in the MCU. Still, even without the spandex, fans are in for a treat. Jessica Jones returns to the scene in already massive news, and she won't be the only familiar face to show up. Edo Henson is back as Foggy Nelson, which is a big surprise considering he was killed off in season 1 premiere. Sounds like Born Again is bringing on Disney Plus is bringing a lot of twist, nostalgia, and superhero grit. And remember, death is not permanent in comics. If you love the original Netflix era of Marvel shows, now's the time to catch up. Jessica Jones and Daredevil are officially back in action, and you're not going to want to miss how they collide this time. All right, and then next we got Joshua Williamson is making some waves, and he's bringing back the Legion of Superheroes. Okay, this is some more news out of NYCC. Joshua Williamson, as I just said, is reviving the Legion of Superheroes. And DC just announced this new DC Next Level promotional program. And the biggest takeaway from the panel was that the Legion is coming back with a brand new title launching in March of 2026. All of our friend Cliff on Comics, he should be very excited about this. The team hasn't had much spotlight since the Brian Bendis run, and if you caught Williamson's recent work on Superman, you might remember the Absolute Legion, those corrupted version working for Darkseid. But don't worry, this time it's the proper Legion, bringing back the classic, hopeful 30th century heroes we know and love. And the excitement around this announcement has been building for a while. DC's editor-in-chief, Marie Javis, actually teased it earlier this year at WonderCon, giving fans a sneak peek before the official NYCC reveal. And get this, Williamson went straight to Mark Waid for his blessing before taking on the project. That's a classy move. Waid, who's basically Legion royalty, said he's totally on board and confident that Williamson's version is one everyone will embrace. Whether you're brand new to the team or have been following them since the Silver Age, you're going to be excited. It's kind of poetic too. The Legion, first created by Otto Bender and Al Pacino way back in 1958, has always represented the bright, idealistic side of DC future after years in the shadow. Seeing them return under Williamson's direction feels like the perfect way to bring that energy back. And in March of 26, can't get here fast enough. All right, then the next story, we got Rucka. This one's pretty big. We got DC just dropped another bombshell at NYCC with a full reveal of their new initiative called DC Next Level, and it's shaping up to be something special. The whole idea behind it is to let top creators tackle the most personal, ambitious project, and the lineup is stacked. We're talking Jeff Lemire, Jamal Campbell, James Herron, Mariko Tamiki, and more. But the headline grabber, Greg Rucka, is officially coming back to Batwoman for the first time in almost 20 years. Rucka called this return to Kate Kane an exorcism, which says a lot about how deep this one runs for him. He admits that when he left the series back in 2009, he never got to resolve that story in his head, and now he's finally going to do it. He even jokes that he's conned DC into solving issues. The new Batwoman launches in 2026, teaming up Rucka with artist Danny, whose haunting line work is being colored by Matt Hollingsworth, a trio Rucka described as a murder row. And this new series sounds dark, emotional, and brutal, all in all the best ways. The story set in Greece as a nod to Danny's background, and Rucka teases that it begins in a very dark place, and it's only going to go down from there. You're starting at the bottom and you're going lower. Oh boy. The core conflict, Kate Kane versus her sister. This showdown Rucka wanted to tell since his first run. Fans who saw Danny's preview art reportedly gasped out loud. It's moody, painterly, and seriously intense. Oh, and Rucka didn't hold back the stakes. He flat out said one of them dies in the first issue. So yeah, this isn't a comeback, it's a reckoning. DC's next level is clearly about letting creators close old loops, and Batwoman might be the most powerful example of that yet. If you've been waiting for Batwoman to get gritty, I think this is the time. So mark it on your calendars for March of 2026. And then next one we're down to our CovrPrice Daily Shakers Report. And this Shakers list is straight up collector's gold. It's like flipping through the Hall of Fame of comic book history. And at the very top, you got Fantastic Four #5 from 1962 by Jack Kirby, sitting pretty with the CGC 2.0 that sold for $3,600. That's a low grade, but it's still commanding top tier money because it's that iconic. Right behind it is Detective Comics #54 from 1941, sold for $3,400 in a CGC 6.5, proving once again that those early Golden Age Batman stories are basically untouchable when it comes to long-term value. Sliding down the list, things get even more interesting. You got Albedo #2 from 1983, sold for $3,150 in a CGC 6.0. And if you didn't know, that's the first appearance of Usagi Yojimbo, which makes total sense why it's holding strong. Then there's Captain America Comics #34 from 1944, sold for $2,499 with a CGC 3.5 grade, showing that even wartime Cap issues are still punching way above their condition. The Silver Age stays strong with Fantastic Four 49 from 1966, another Kirby classic, coming in at $1,700 in a CGC 7.5, while Super Comics #1 from 1938 and Yellow Claw #1 from 1956 represents that deep collector territory, pulling in $1,595 and $1,450 respectively. And then we got the fan favorite era, the 70s and 80s, closing it out. We got Giant Size X-Men #1 from 1975 by Gil Kane, sitting around $1,200 in a raw. An Amazing Spider-Man #129 from 1974. The Punisher and Jackal debut, clocking in at $1,195 in a CGC 6.0 to round it out. And then to throw in a little fun, we got Thundercats #1 from 1985. A pristine CGC 9.8 newsstand copy is holding strong at $1,000, proving that nostalgia and condition can be just as powerful at any age. If you got any of those keys tucked away in your collection, now's the time to get them graded or checked. These sales show that even mid-grade copies are pulling in some serious money. Well, that's it for the Shakers Report. Just want to remind everybody that this is October, which is Comics Curing Cancer Month. Christina Payne dropped the link to Comics Curing Cancer in the chat. Also, I have on the screen there the link to their donation page where you can go check out Comics Curing Cancer. Also, they have a big auction coming up at the end of the month, October 24th through the 26th. And I have that scheduled for you to look at right here. Here we go. right, and that was the schedule for the Comic Screen Cancer auctions at the end of the month. Also, this evening at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, I have Comic Channel Origins, where I will be talking to comic book YouTube creators about how they've grown their channel. And today I'm interviewing What's on the Comic Rack, or also known as Mr. Aiken. And that is going to be today at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about how he's grown his YouTube channel and the process that he's gone through. This is my way of trying to learn things from other content creators about how they've done what they've done. All right, so please join us 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Ask questions. It's a great show. It's going to be a lot of fun, so check that out. And don't forget to go to our channel sponsor, Ron's Comic Closet, and use code IHAVEISSUES at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase. And whether it's DC, Marvel, Indie, or that long box that you just pulled, if it's got panels, we got issues. See you tomorrow right here on I Have Comic Issues. Have a good one, and we'll see you later.